Hey guys, welcome to the channel or welcome back to the channel. Today we are going over Ooltewah. We're gonna go over what Ooltewah is all about, and then we're gonna dive into a map and give a little tour of Ooltewah so you can have a better understanding of the area, how to get around, and see if it's a good fit for you to live in. Okay, so first things first, we have to talk about the name because I know it can be confusing for some of you guys. It's Ooltewah, and actually recently I found out that Ooltewah means owl's nest. So it's a Native American term. Ooltewah has such a history, such a rich history, and it's actually a very, very established little town here in the Chattanooga area. It has since expanded a ton since its beginnings, and we're gonna kind of go over that here in this video. So its immediate location is east of downtown Chattanooga, and it's going to be around a 30-minute drive. It's also a lot taller than it is wide, so it's going to stem all the way up from Chickamauga Lake and go all the way down to the Georgia-Tennessee border. The different towns or suburbs that Ooltewah borders is East Brainerd, Harrison, McDonald, and Appleton. And this is actually a lot more important than you might think because of the different options Ooltewah has for living, right? You can live in an urban area or Cambridge Square. Cambridge Square is considered the downtown of Ooltewah. You could live in a suburb, essentially, where you're just living in a neighborhood next to neighbors and you have that good community feel, or you can live a little bit more rural. We're gonna dive into the map in a second, but Ooltewah has many sections where you're either in the green or you're in the gray, meaning you're in a space, in an area that has a lot more space, or you're in an area that's a lot more suburban, or it has a lot more amenities close to grocery stores, hardware stores, restaurants, stuff like that. So there are a ton of options for you depending on your lifestyle and your goals. Ooltewah has a very, very strong, rich sense of community, and one of the reasons is because of its history. Ooltewah itself was established in 1907, but before that there was Collegedale and Southern Missionary College. Now it's Southern Adventist University. It's a small private college sitting in Collegedale / Ooltewah. Collegedale actually sits in Ooltewah, but it's important because it was established more than 100 years ago. And families still to this day establish their roots in this area. So what that means is you have areas and you have neighborhoods that are very, very established. You have massive estates, you have a ton of acreage, but you also have a bunch of new builds since Chattanooga is expanding east towards Ooltewah, Appleton, Cleveland. So this is what I talk about when we have this mix. We have very, very established areas, established neighborhoods and estates, but we also have a ton of new building going on, giving you a ton of options for exactly what you want. There are also a ton of community events and holiday celebrations, and they're held at Cambridge Square or Collegedale Commons. There's also a farmer's market if you like locally grown food and local mom and pop type of stores and businesses. That's something that my wife and I love going to. We love farmers markets. We love grabbing fresh vegetables and fresh fruits from local farmers. Let's talk about housing for a second. I'm going to keep going to this fact that Ooltewah provides a very diverse opportunity in terms of housing. You can either live in a rural setting, you can live in a suburban setting, or you can live in an urban setting. Now the urban setting has quotations because the urban setting would be in Cambridge Square, again, which is Ooltewah's town center or city center. Cambridge Square has a commercial area and it also has a residential area. The homes there are beautiful. They're all craftsman style, very, very beautiful, practically new. And it's great because it's right next to the honors course, which we'll go over that in a second, but that's the #1 golf course in all of Tennessee. It sits in Ooltewah, next to Cambridge Square. Now the median home price in Ooltewah as of today, June 7th, 2024, is at $478,000, or you're gonna be paying around $189 per square foot. And guys, if you are looking to move to Chattanooga or anywhere in Tennessee, I am a licensed realtor. As much as I love making these videos, I love helping you guys with your real estate needs even more. So in any of the ways down below, feel free to contact me and I'll be absolutely happy to help you guys out. Before we dive into the map, let's talk about schools for a second. Ooltewah has some of the best schools in Hamilton County. And the schooling opportunities is one of the reasons why Ooltewah is such a great option for someone looking to raise a family. You have different options for public schools and private schools, and they're all rated pretty high. And I will say, because Ooltewah is so long and narrow, it's divided into different school sections. So before you decide to move to Ooltewah, we need to get very, very clear on exactly which school system you want to be a part of if that's very important to you. I also get asked a lot about homeschooling and co-ops. That's one of the things me and my wife are gonna do. We're gonna homeschool. Ooltewah, Appleton, McDonald, Collegedale, they're very attractive to people wanting to homeschool their kids because there's still opportunity for rural living. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's dive into the map. All right, guys, we are going to dive into the map here. We're using good old Google Maps. And so for the purpose of this video, let's start on the south side of Ooltewah near the Tennessee-Georgia border. So I have Ooltewah highlighted here in the red dotted line. And as you can see, it stretches all the way down from the Tennessee-Georgia border, all the way up to part of Chickamauga Lake. There's also a section here that has a bunch of lake communities and lake homes as well. It's not on the main part of Chickamauga Lake, but during the summer when the lake is filled up, you can absolutely have a dock and have your boat and go out to the main part of the lake. But during the winter and cooler months, they do drain the lake quite a bit. So, you know, if you do have a boat or a dock, you're not going to be going out. It's just going to be too shallow. So let's start on the south side. On the south side, we have a road here called East Brainerd Road. So this road is pretty significant because it gets split off right here, right at this intersection where Food City is, right? So it stretches from all the way to the west side in East Brainerd, and it goes all the way to the east side towards Appleton. Over here in the white gray area, it's a lot more developed. There are a ton of amenities. It's a lot busier. There's a ton of traffic, not a ton of traffic, but there's more traffic than you would want if you are living on East Brainerd Road. But as you can see, as we're just going through the map, you see how there's a ton of shops and just developed areas around here. Now, as we keep traveling east, right at this split off, it becomes a lot more rural. It's like there's this line right here. It divides the developed part from when it starts getting really rural. And you can see the rural areas literally just by the color, green versus gray, right? There's also a few communities, and they're beautiful communities. This is a gorgeous area down here next to the Georgia-Tennessee border. Very affluent area as well. A bunch of nice communities right along this Tennessee-Georgia border. As we travel north, there's another road. It's called Stanford Gap Road. Very, very similar to East Brainerd Road. To the west, it's a main road that pretty much sections off different communities, right? So as you see these roads that stem off from Stanford Gap, you're going into different communities. And a lot of times, which is really cool about the communities off of Stanford Gap, is they section off into like hilltop communities that are honestly just beautiful, have beautiful views. And it's really nice being in this area off this road because you can hop on Stanford Gap and get to East Brainerd where all the convenience is, where the mall is, where all of your supermarkets, grocery stores, hardware stores, all that type of stuff. And as you can see right here, we're gonna go over this road in a second. This is Ooltewah Ringgold Road. It's also sectioned off right here. As soon as you get past this roundabout, it becomes a lot more rural. And as you continue to move west off of Stanford Gap, off of Brainerd Road, it becomes more rural, and there are beautiful estates and homes on beautiful acreage as you keep traveling east. One of the best areas to live in Chattanooga, in my opinion, is split off by Ooltewah Ringgold Road east, right? So yeah, Stanford Gap Road pretty much gets cut off by University Drive right here, which actually goes up to Southern Adventist University. As we keep traveling north, we get to Southern Adventist University or Collegedale. Collegedale is technically its own little town, but it's a town within Ooltewah. So as talked about before, Southern Adventist University actually used to be called Southern Missionary College. It's been around for over 100 years. And this immediate area in Collegedale around Southern, we call it Southern or SAU, is very established, right? So you have a ton of options, honestly. The homes are going to be quite a bit older, but you have anywhere from smaller cottages all the way to giant estates. The homes are going to be older. They're going to be a little bit more unique with a little bit more character, but that's this immediate area. You also have McKee Foods right here. I actually attended Southern for about a year, and every single morning I would go on a run at Southern, and you can smell all of the food that they're making at McKee, and they're all sweets, they're all sugary, and they smell absolutely delicious. So it gave me a little bit of motivation for the run, or not motivation, whatever way you look at it, right? But I just remember running up the hills and just smelling McKee Foods, and it smelled incredible. But McKee is actually where a lot of people do end up working as well. It's one of the biggest employers here in Chattanooga and definitely in the Ooltewah area. So that's Southern. And then we come across this road right here called Apison Pike. So the roads here are pretty self-explanatory. Apison Pike leads to down south towards Apison. This green area, this is all Apison right here. So it's pretty self-explanatory. As you go further east, the more rural it gets. So this is Collegedale. We'll go right here, and this is one of the main areas. So expanding out once more, this intersection right here, it's called Four Corners. There's a Tractor Supply here. There's a few other things as well. There's a couple of restaurants, small restaurants, local stores and stuff here and there. But if you ever live in this area, live in Ooltewah, and you need to meet people, a lot of times you'll meet at Four Corners. We call this section right here Four Corners. It's a great meeting place. As we go south from Four Corners, this is a very important area in Ooltewah. We have Collegedale Commons right here, right next to it, Little Debbie Park. On the weekends, Little Debbie Park gets absolutely filled with kids and families. It's amazing, right? So you have a giant field where a lot of people just come to hang out, to either just sunbathe or play sports, play some football, play some spike ball, and just hang out with friends. There's also a giant hill in Little Debbie Park. If you know Chattanooga, you know that it doesn't really snow that often. So there's this giant hill where people bring cardboard boxes, flattened cardboard boxes, and you actually sled down the grass hill on the cardboard boxes. That's what we do because we don't have snow here. Little Debbie Park is amazing. You also have the Imagination Station. Pretty similar to Little Debbie Park, it's just a little bit smaller. Collegedale Commons is where they host the Ooltewah Farmers Market. This is also where they have a bunch of community events and stuff as that. There's also a bunch of churches around here as well. Let's see here. Yeah, that's it as far as this area goes. Now, if we go north on Ooltewah Ringgold Road, we hit Ooltewah Middle School right here. There's also a few communities off this road as well, very similar to Standiford Gap. It's a main road with a bunch of roads sectioning off into different neighborhoods and communities. So let's keep going north on Ooltewah Ringgold Road. Right here is a little commercial section. One of the main stores, restaurants, it's a coffee bar, that's what it is Wired Coffee Bar. This is where a lot of Southern Adventist University students come and hang out. This is where a lot of working professionals come to get some work done. Very neat, established coffee shop right here. And there's a few other stores around here as well. There's a nursery, there's an animal hospital, there's a milkshake shop, which I've yet to go to, but I've heard very, very good things about. Ooltewah Whistle Stop. So we keep going up Ooltewah Ringgold Road, and boom, we get a cutoff right here. Another intersection where Ooltewah Ringgold Road actually turns into Ooltewah Georgetown Road. So Ooltewah Ringgold Road, it is a road that extends from Ringgold, Georgia, all the way up north through Ooltewah. Pretty self-explanatory. Ooltewah Georgetown Road is a road that brings you from Ooltewah up to Georgetown. Georgetown is an area that's north of Cleveland. But very, very self-explanatory, these roads, right? So back here, right in this intersection, very important, we have Cambridge Square right here. Cambridge Square, again, like I said, it's pretty much like the city center of Ooltewah. This is where you're going to have a big residential zone, but also a commercial zone. This is going to be your urban living here in Ooltewah, where you can get out, walk to the store, walk to a restaurant. 1885, this restaurant right here, fantastic. And then right next to Cambridge Square, we have the Honors Course. Again, #1 golf course in all of Tennessee. So right in this area, we got Cambridge Square, and if we go west on this road right here, this is where most of your commercial stuff is going to be in Ooltewah. This is where a bunch of your grocery stores are going to be. There's a Walmart, there's a Food City, there's some hardware stores here and there. There's a bunch of hotels too. I get people calling me all the time, asking me where to stay. If we're focusing on Ooltewah, then they can just stay right in Ooltewah at the Spring Hill Suites. And then they can go to like Cracker Barrel for breakfast. But yeah, so this is going to be your main area right here. Okay, as we're traveling west, we're continuing to travel west. There are two main roads that I want you to pay attention to. #1 is Snow Hill Road, which is right here, goes all the way up north. And there's also Hunter Road, which runs all the way up north. They both essentially lead to the lake, but Hunter Road pretty much leads directly to the lake, and it actually goes through Harrison. Snow Hill Road is a little bit different. It also sections off into different neighborhoods, beautiful homes up this road, beautiful neighborhoods, and we go all the way north, and we get to the Ooltewah Club. Ooltewah Club is another golf community. It has a pool, it has a clubhouse, it has a bunch of amenities, and right around it you have a bunch of beautiful communities, one of those being Hampton Creek. So if you're going to live in a lake community in Ooltewah, you're likely going to be traveling up and down Snow Hill Road pretty often. And then right around this area, this is where all of your lake homes and lake communities are going to be. Very tight-knit in this area. A lot of people who have lived in the area for a long time, they actually end up buying real estate in this area just because it's beautiful. It's in high demand. It's in a very nice location right next to the lake, right? So if you love being on the lake and you like boating, you like water sports, you like canoeing, kayaking, that type of thing, this is a very convenient place to live. Now, the time it takes actually to get all the way from the Georgia border to this lake is going to be about 20 minutes, right? So again, Ooltewah is a very, very long town, but you know, there's really still not that much traffic going north to south, and you can get places relatively fast. This isn't the end of Ooltewah. Ooltewah honestly goes all the way up here, which is pretty insane. But once you go up here, it gets a lot more rural as well. Okay, let's talk about convenience for one sec. Let's actually head back down south, right? So we have actually a Food City right here, and we have a Publix right here as well. This Publix is very, very new. And the reason why that's a big deal, because everyone living in like southern Ooltewah and Appleton, they used to have to travel all the way either to Ooltewah or to Cleveland. Ooltewah or to Cleveland to get their groceries at a nice grocery store. Now they just built another, essentially commercial zone right here, because it's not just Publix, it's a bunch of other stores and stuff as well, right in this area. That's a really big deal. Again, as I mentioned before, Chattanooga is expanding east, not west. Reason being is because we have the Cumberland Mountain Range right here. So it's very, very difficult, next to impossible, to extend west and to expand west. So a bunch of investor dollars, a bunch of developers are developing east because there's still so much space out this way. I think that's it, guys. If I missed anything, comment down below. Also, if you want me to do a little map tour of different areas in Chattanooga as well, comment which areas you'd like to see down below. Again, guys, I am a licensed realtor here in Chattanooga and all of Tennessee. So if you guys are looking to move to the area, feel free to contact me in any of the ways down below and I'll be absolutely happy to help you guys out. If you found value in this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.